song's 10 years old this year. I'm not even the biggest fan of that song, even though that segment is sick, I still think, right? And it comes back a little bit differently. That segment gets repeated. But I was laying in bed just watching TikToks. Wanted to do one of these, but then was like so petered out that I was just like, so maybe not today after all, actually. And I was watching this TikTok where this guy's recapping all these like EDM songs that are now going to be 10 years old. I mean, Animals is in there. Oh my God. That one I really love, actually, especially the Botneck remix. I should have led with that, to be honest. But the reason I led with this one is not because I have a particular affinity to that song in particular, but that's the one that got me out of bed and like dancing around in my house for a little bit just now. That gave me the energy to actually just hop on and do this tonight, after all. And it inspired a thought, right? Which is what like led to this also. So not just gave me the energy, but inspired a thought, which I'll leave with for this vlog 2040, sorry, 44.0. Time is 1:25 a.m. Saturday, 4th of February, 2023, London time, log 44.0. So, well, the reason I wanted to do one of these initially anyways, before I almost did it, was today's a significant day. So, let's do it. Led with that song because that's what got me out of bed and actually onto this and inspired the following thought, right? So let's start with like the story, right? So there is this guy who is a DJ, right? That came out of our high school, named, I'm going to butcher the name. It's going to embarrass me, the fact that I'm not even confident that I'm pronouncing correctly and probably actually aren't. But Jirafaj, sure, but anyhow, this guy went to my high school, younger than me. Didn't know him in high school. I've probably seen him, couldn't really remember, right? So really didn't know him. So claiming him in any way outside of the fact that he's a fellow, Limbrook alma mater, Limbrook alumni, it's not really fair. We don't really friends, right? So, but he was friends with people I'm friends with. And I like his music, it's good, actually. It's legit. It's not banger like that sort of stuff, but like, it's good. It's legit. And I remember he performed at Outside Lands. I forget what year it was. Probably not much later than 2013, maybe even 2013. Hot damn, dude. 10 years ago, a decade ago. Could have easily been 2013, actually. But maybe 2015 or something. We'll see. Who knows? I'm not going to about to see or try and remember, really, right? That said, I did go to the first ever Outside Lands with my girlfriend at the time. She was the one who made the call and got the tickets, and like, so glad I went. Saw Radiohead. Last time seeing Radiohead. But Outside Lands is a thing, especially if you live in San Francisco. It's almost like a must. Which is when I went to that one. That would have been anyways. So this guy performed. I was there, kind of there to see him. There's a bunch of different stages, but he's performing at the stage. I think it was the same one Porter Robinson performed at that same year, unless I'm getting my years twisted. I didn't go to that many Outside Lands. I think just two, actually. Anywho, and then at the end of his performance, right, he shouts out like, that he lived not far from like Outside Lands, and basically calling out like, hometown kid. And he's like, so honored, and more than honored. We wouldn't use the word honored, right? It was even more emotional than the word honor, right? To be there, right? Like, oh my God, what a dream come true kind of thing. And then he signs off with like one last song. And that one last song is Sandstorm Darude, right? By Darude. And the crowd goes crazy. Me and my friends especially. And the reason being is because in high school, when that song came on, we go hyphy. That was word of the day, whatever, right? We Hulk out, right? Go crazy, right? Like mosh pit sort of status. Anytime that song came on, right? And there was a backstory to why that started happening. was because prior to us doing it to that song, everyone would just go crazy when Last Resort got played, Papa Roach. And that stretched back to like middle school. And that wasn't even something that like, I didn't even know where that came from. It just happened like organically. That song came on, everyone started like moshing, and they'd always have to like cut the song. And then they'd warn that they're going to cut the song if we don't stop moshing, and then they'd turn the song back on. We go right back to moshing, and then they just fucking cut it out. And it got to the point where they just stopped playing it altogether. So then no more like opportunity to mosh. Now, granted, sure, there may be the other songs like we could or we could have, of course, right? But like nothing that, had the automatic like knee-jerk reaction to mosh in the same awesome way as like Last Resort. I mean, Last Resort is special like that. I mean, man, obviously maybe I'm being biased, but like I feel like it is a special song in that sense. Or at least it was for us, my generation, my friend, my peer group at that time, right? Like, yeah, there's other songs you can maybe mosh to, but not like Last Resort was something. And I just got an emotional reaction. Like I said, like when we first started doing it, it's not like anyone said, let's mosh to this song. It just kind of organically happened. So they stopped playing that song altogether. Or, if at best they'd play it and then quickly fucking cut it, right? And it just became like Pavlov's dog at some point, right? We did from middle school through to high school, and then eventually they just stopped, I think, playing the song. And but then somehow, and this I'm not going to say somehow because I give my friends credit for this, is and I'm not the only one who did give my friends credit to this. My ex-girlfriend said, even when when I was in college and she was still in high school, remember her telling me like, hey, they still mosh to like Sandstorm, right? Like even after you guys left. And that was my girlfriend she wasn't my girlfriend when I was in college, but she was my girlfriend basically all through high school. She was a year younger than me. And then there was a girl that was a year older than me that called me and my friends the Techno Boys. Right. As far as nicknames go, I mean, not especially like, whatever. We were, I guess, right? It was me and Mike and Steve, basically, is what that she kind of was referring to as far as the Techno Boys, right? And yeah, it was me and my friends kind of getting that going. We were the impetus of like, the going and like hulking out to trance, in my car, wherever, whatever, like, and on, in the quad during the dances, right? And really got that going, and people like, kind of, joined in, and it persisted past us graduating, kind of thing, right? Or so I heard. Obviously, I wasn't there to see it myself, but so I was told. And then the fact that this DJ up there at Outside Lands went to my high school. Now, granted, I don't remember him, but he was like a year younger, so assuming he went to the dances, plays that Sandstorm song. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was just like, yeah, he's from Lynbrook kind of thing. And maybe I'm over, maybe he never went to any of the dances, maybe never saw any of that. I mean, that's highly unlikely, but like, let's say, take it to the extreme that like never even saw that wasn't even inspired by that, nothing, right? But what I will say though, is that everyone in the crowd at Outside Lands immediately reacted just like we did as kids, right? So is it especially, like, we just went crazy for it, right? So is there anything really even to take credit for there? Maybe not, because it is just like a natural reaction, right? And people are just naturally reacting, and it builds off of other people reacting too, right? It creates kind of, people, it builds on people, people join in, right? You get a core passionate group reacting very passionately, right, to something, and then other people, kind of follow suit. So yeah, so maybe there's no connection there, sure, right? Maybe. I feel unlikely, but let me just say maybe. And maybe it's just, kind of a natural thing, whatever it may be, right? But I just remember thinking, oh my God, like, I wonder, right? Like it really, I can take credit for me and my friends starting to kind of mosh is not quite the right word, but yeah, let's say mosh. It was the mosh replacement song for them, like quitting on playing like Last Resort. So there was still that one, it became that one song. Then when that one song got played, everyone knew what to do, kind of thing, right? Or it was going to go down, and it did. Yeah, and it started with we had to start somewhere, and I'm serious, it started with me and my friends, right? So I don't want to sound, whatever, right? It did. Some things are just like, don't be over humble, right? Keep it real too. But then it kept happening. Every dance that song came on, and it went down. It was great. And it was and it's not even like it's the thing is, what I will say though is that we didn't create something out of nothing. There was already that something with Last Resort, and Last Resort was that song that every time it came on, right, it went down, right? And when they took away that song, they took that, like, that one thing, one song, that one, even if you hate dances, right? Maybe you like moshing, right? There was that one song that was gonna come on and go down, but you take away that song, and then it was like, okay, well, what's the replacement? There's no substitute. And that sucks. You got to give us at least one song to go kind of crazy to as kids, right? And I think me and my friends picked the song effectively, and it stuck. And it's a great song, right? Like, fucking sounds so fuck. I should have led with that, like I said, but still. And I remember being outside lands and seeing him play that song and seeing how everyone react, and like, oh my God. And it's just this like thought of, because at that time I assumed like I had some, whether explicitly or not, there was some connection there, right? And let me just now talk like without being humble, right? Like, what if he's playing that song because he does remember how it was in his high school when that song came on, how it went down, and it's almost like an homage to like his his youth and what he saw in his community when that song went on. People went crazy. It was awesome. It was that song, and that's the song he's signing off on, right? And yes, it's a classic, and yes, it's great, it's a banger, it's great, right? And all that also. But maybe it was a little bit of an homage, and that's what I felt like when I first heard it. That was where my head first went, right? Oh my God, he just dropped an homage to Lynbrook, bro. Like right after talking about how he used to live. And he's talking about living in San Francisco. We're up from San Francisco, from San Jose. But that's what he was saying. And then he said, "Thank you guys," and then he just played Sandstorm. And that to me was a homage to like San Jose. He wasn't calling out, San Jose. And the thing he was talking about how he lived across the street, like later on, like college or post-college years or whatever it was. But that song felt like the actual homage to San Ho, to Lynbrook, basically. And that's how it felt, at least. And I'm almost convinced of it, right? And it got me thinking of like, the impact you may have that you may not even realize. It got me thinking of like, this concept of like Ubuntu, right? I am who I am because of who we all are. It got me thinking of like how everything's kind of connected, right? I really do believe in that. I think everything's connected. And, through some, many kind of steps of connection. And in this case, I didn't feel that there was that many steps of connection between me, in the crowd, big crowd, right? Doesn't even see me, probably doesn't even see me, right? Maybe doesn't even know me, I don't know. But he's playing the song, and I feel there's that connection, right? Back to, it's like a thing, right? I can't really articulate, but connected, right? Everything's connected. And the thing about like, I am who I am because of who we all are type of thing, right? Which I think is a great concept. And when I first learned it, I thought it was like brilliant, right? Saying, and it's stuck with me ever since. And I still stand by it, right? Like or stand by it. It's not so much an argument as it is, well, it is a statement. It is a kind of postulate of sorts. So yeah, I'm about it. I think I agree with it. I am who I am because of who we are. A good, great example is in this company, for instance. Before I joined this company, I was always like one of the youngest and acted as such. And then I came to this company and I'm quickly one of the oldest. Really quickly went from every company being the youngest, all of a sudden this company being like one of the oldest. And it kind of changes who you are in a way, right? Yeah, I mean, I remember the retreat, right? Some of the guys refer to me like Boris, like the was being like the father figure. I'm like, yeah, the father figure because I'm the oldest, right? But like every other company I've ever been, I was like the youngest. I wasn't like a father figure in the slightest. I was this fucking problem child. I'm only that kind of father figure because you guys are all younger than me, you know. Like I am who I am because of who we all are, you know. Um, so but where and then okay, I heard this song on this TikTok, right? This guy recounting like 10 songs that from 10 years ago. And oh my God, dude, made me, I was like, really? That was 10 years ago? Wow. Animals and like I forget the other names of the other ones, but you know, of course, like Swedish House Mafia ones in there as well and whatnot. But yeah. And it reminded me of like Sandstorm, reminded me of that, and reminded me of that thought I had when he played it. And then it reminded me of, you know, us being techno boys. And then that reminded me of this great TED Talk I once saw, where the guy is talking about starting a movement, I think is something along these lines, right? Can't remember verbatim what the kind of title of the TED Talk was. But what he leads with, or what this leads with, is video of, I think it's, what's it called, like not Sasquatch, but some like festival in in the Northwest, right? I forget what it's called, but and there's this guy just dancing, you know, it's like one of those, you know, fields, but like standard fields, almost like shoreline, mountain view, you know, slope, and he's just dancing, right, on his own, you know, free dancing, and then, you know, kind of looks like a little bit of a nutter, right? And then some other guy runs up to him and starts dancing with him, right? And like in a way that feels like acknowledges like, hey man, you know, I see you, right? And I'm just gonna be like crazy with you, right? And then all of a sudden somebody else runs up to now dance with these two that are just like dancing. Now, a little bit of a delay there, right? But then somebody else runs up. And this video is amazing. Maybe I should just maybe we should just take a pause and watch this video. I don't know. Why not? If I can find it, right? Well, you know what? Let's do it, right? I mean, this video merits it, right? Not so, and the TED Talk was good too, but like if I could just find the video, right? And I know I have it saved somewhere in my, you know, here we go. How to start a movement. So let me just, is this the right one?
This presenter, stop saying act.
And we'll play it, right? It's not, doesn't take too long. I think it deserves just a context. It's well worth the watch, right? So let's do this. Let me, give me a second. I want to, we don't need to listen to his talk. I was trying to pinpoint him showing the video, the source, right? Let's go to the source of this. So let me share my screen. Yeah.
And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public.
I want to start,
and here can follower.
I want to start with
trans self. Underestimate the first. Now there he is, caught not about the equal. So now it's a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out. They won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that, TED. Thanks.
I mean, it was a great speech too. You guys, I mean, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Like, it was a great talk, as they say, right? TED Talk. Am I still sharing my screen? Where's what did I lose? Oops. There we go. I mean, it was great. It was a great TED Talk, one of the best, honestly. I really do believe. And the whole thing about, like, yes, absolutely, I really do agree. I don't need to recount what he said. Go watch it, and like, I agree with that TED Talk entirely. So yeah. So where was I going with it, right? I remember now how it led up to the thought and the TED Talk and, like, you know, Techno Boys and blah blah blah. I am who I am because of who we all are. You know, and you know, I guess it all comes back to my job. I mean, am I ever gonna do one of these talks where I don't talk about work? I don't know, man. We'll see, right? And it hasn't been one yet. Hot damn, dude. But like, today was a significant day in a number of ways. So one of which was we finally hit our first 50 customers. And in the same day, we went from 49 to 51, actually. So not only did we hit 50 today, or yesterday now, technically, but we hit 51, right? 2 came through, and we went from 49 to 51. Monumental moment. We've never had 50 customers before, all-time high for us. And we flirted with 50 like long ago, right? In a way. We've just slowly been building our way back. And even like this last year, right? Was kind of eating into the customer count because we were deliberately churning customers too. That was part of last year's strategy. So, you know, but yeah, finally we kind of hit this. It's an arbitrary of sorts, sure, number, but 50 significant. And not only hit it, but surpass it today. On the same token, we surpassed a new million ARR, which doesn't happen every day either, right? You know, so, you know, really, and now, like, what, February 3rd, right? It's now 4th, but February 3rd. I mean, now that we decided this year to shift the way we recognize our year end. Our year end's going to be end of January. A la, you know, that's how Yammer used to do it. A lot of SaaS companies do it. I'm on board with it. It did push the goal line back on me this all of a sudden, because I thought, you know, at the beginning of December, basically hit 115%. And then the moment we decided, oh, we're going to, you know, push our year end back, I'm like, oh, fuck, then now we might be at like 111%, because there was like one deal that was like maybe going to churn out, right? And said they would actually. So they were going to. And that was, you know, going to be a January renewal. And I saw it as, you know, it's going to be a different new year 2023 renewal. But now when you shift your year end to end of January, you know, now we're going to get hit with that fuck. Managed to save that from churning out. Still down sell, sure, but managed to save it from churning out, and got like a, you know, December overage in that, you know, brought us to 115.2% NRR, you know, got to exceed goal by 0.2%. 0.15 if I'm being exact, but that 0.15 if I go to first decimal. And I'm only dealing with first decimals. Fuck double decimals, dude. And I also don't like rounding up to no decimal. I do think decimal matters. But yeah, we're talking one decimal. It's 115.2. So fuck yeah. Now, granted, that's not as good as last year, but like many more renewals this year. And there was a lot of things like we kind of self-inflicted, hurt ourselves this year or last year now, technically, I guess, with, you know, some deals that really shouldn't have been done the way they were, right? But learnings, and we'll improve on. Excited for, like, you know, now this year, officially into the new year, new goals. And now the goals are less even about like any kind of forecasting, right? Whereas previous goals I made were like kind of an element of forecasting involved. Like that 115 was like a blend of goal plus forecast, right? But now it's not even like forecasting so much as it is just we have to exceed 120%, period, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, and what I will also say about today is I really felt my team kind of coming together in a way that, to be quite frank, I haven't ever felt before. And yeah, in a weird way I haven't felt before. And maybe it's all in my head, sure, but I really feel like everyone's kind of pulling together right now, and today, especially, in this week, especially. And I even have like some concrete examples. Like one of my employees went and built an action so that I can migrate flows across dashboards with a single action. And I know that makes no sense to anyone out there, but like that's huge. It's huge, bro. I kept saying to him, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I don't even know what to say. That's amazing. Thank you. I couldn't even kind of elaborate. I just kept repeating myself. It was the best gift I've received in like a long time. And when he introduced it, he's like, this is a gift for you, right? I was like, it's the best gift I've received in a fucking long time, right? Wow. Thank you so much. Unprompted, went and did it. Damn. It makes everybody's life easier now. You know, it's not just mine. It's like the whole team's. Whew. And that's just an example. And I was feeling examples all around my team. And that's what makes it, I think, like you especially unique, is I was feeling it to a person, right? And part of it is that, you know, next week a new person starting, and then another week another two are starting. So we're going from, I have a team of 9 right now, a team of 9 to a team of 12 in a matter of what, 10 days from now, right? I mean, that's a 33% growth of my team over, you know, a little over a week, let's say, basically, right? From one Monday to the next, you know, we're going to grow at 33%. And part of what we need to do is, as we're beginning to kind of get this growth, you know, with these, you know, 3 people all at once, is my team, we really need to pull together and really improve our onboarding. And our standardization and our documentation, because as you begin to grow and you don't have that like well established, like things get very sloppy very quick. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, at Yammer, right? Yammer was fucking like hiring like 30 people every 2 weeks. And I feel like it got to a point where like no one even knew what everyone was doing, right? It was so new, and so many new people every other week, right? Oh my God. I mean, that was just a fucking, you know, a rocket ship tsunami. I don't know, right? Like, I mean, wow, they rode that wave into, at the time, one of the biggest, you know, 1.2 billion biggest exits, or what? No, one of the biggest, quickest exits like ever. And I think it still holds some kind of record like that, right? Like it was, you know, between them, like, you know, demoing it at, what's it called? TechCrunch, whatever, to that exit, I think it was like 4 years flat, something like this, right? And raised like 100+ million in that 4 years too. I mean, it was a totally unique, like kind of, I don't know, at the time. Now it's, you know, been playing kind of maybe did something similar at least. But anywho, and at the time when I joined Yammer, it was for those from there that may remember, it was Yammer or Box. Everyone wanted to go Yammer or Box at that time, and like Box, I don't know. I guess I don't know what happened with them, bro. I know they're still around, but it just, I guess waves crash, right? And I guess kind of Yammer really, you know, exited before the wave kind of crashed. But I also think Yammer like left a lot of potential on the table. I mean, given what Slack went on to do, and I mean, we had our own messaging thing too, like, and given how I still feel like Yammer was even getting way kind of better than Slack because it was a proper, like, had, you know, documentation, places for documentation, pages, the places, there's like a proper intranet with like a messaging system also. And I mean, I thought it could have really been even bigger, but especially when I wanted to see what like Slack became, just basically being purely messaging. Oh my God, right? Never mind the fact that, you know, Yammer had so much more around the messaging also, right? But who knows, you know? And that was that era too, 2013, well, 2012, right? Like I said, how Yammer coming in my head? I don't know how Yammer came in my head. Um, but yeah, so team pulling together, great. We're growing. That's the growth thing. But not hyper growth, right? But you know, significant for us and our size. And I gave a little speech to my team, right? During our weekly team meeting, team weekly, right? Where I went through, I said, you guys are my like first 9 hires, which is true. You're all my hires. I made one other hire in my life. I made a total of 10 in my life, and one of them didn't work out. Within 6 weeks, we let him go. But you 9 are like, you know, my first 9, right? Technically not first 9 because he was, yeah. Well, you get what I'm saying, right? And then I went through and recounted kind of each one of them. It's funny. Each one has a unique like origin story or like a little kind of funny tidbit about, you know, how they first started, right? How the kind of story behind their us hiring them or finding them, or, you know, I mean, I'll give one example. Like one girl, you know, we hired her, and her first day with us was actually, well, I'm not going to get into each individual story because there was a story for each one, and I'm going to get carried away. But gave a little back origin story, right, with about each one, right, just to kind of commemorate the first 9, my first 9. And it's something I wouldn't think I'd ever do again, to be honest. I mean, as we go to 12, am I going to go back and then recount all 12? No, I mean, this is it, right? This is a one and done. And I said that too. This is a one and done kind of thing I just really wanted to do for you 9, you know? And where was I going with that? And I don't know. I think my team's really kind of pulling it. I think maybe they saw how much I was struggling a few weeks ago, and now they're really stepping up to help. I don't know. Maybe it's just now they see new people coming. They want to kind of step up and make sure that we look good to new people, you know, like there's that element. Maybe it's me kind of delegating better and giving them tasks I know that they're like inclined to and would like to do, and like kind of picking them the right ones to do the right tasks, sort of thing. Maybe it's, you know, maybe it's any number of things. Maybe it's all the things, right? But it just felt good, and I want to keep it up. And it was the first time feeling quite like this, so that's saying something. And it's a feeling I want to I realize will ebb and flow, but I definitely want to get back on the regular. So on the keeping of the theme of waves, you know, I'm okay if it's like in and out, or it's like a tide, sure, but I want to definitely get back to what felt like a high mark this week in terms of not just the company and number of customers and ARR, but like my team. Yeah, man. So we'll leave it at that. So we'll leave it at that. That said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love you, Mom.